Hey, what's up, friends? Firewood Timberworks. We're about to break down some of these logs with the Stihl 461. I took the Egan straight shot off of it because the neighbors, eh, I live in an HOA and rent, so I don't want to go to war with them and have the HOA try and squeeze my landlord on me. So, oh well, it's still, the 461 still rips. So here it is without the Egan straight shot. Alright, so what we got going on here is I've got a bunch of wood in the backyard. I went heavy collecting it. Now I got to process it all down. So this is all going to be chainsaw work. This is all going to be using the 461. And I'm breaking down mostly cherry. There's a lot of hickory in there too. And I'm making turning blanks out of it. A little bit will go as firewood, but that's mostly stuff that's the bark and the outer edges that can't be turned or will be wasted if I tried to turn it. So I just use it as firewood. Okay, I'm not really sure what this piece is. It's a remnant of some of the stuff that I first hauled off when I got my chainsaw. It's probably in the walnut family. I know it's in the walnut family. It might be a type of walnut or butternut. It's a real interesting wood. It's got some of the green on the inside towards the heartwood where it would look like walnut, but it's a lot lighter color. This tree was attacked by ants, and so I can't use most of it, but I'll salvage what I can. Here's a nice chunk of shagbark hickory. It's a small crotch piece, and I'm going to leave the outer edge natural so I can run a natural edge bowl out of it. This stuff will blunt your chain like nobody's business, man. It's hard, and the bark is just brutal on your chain and on your turning tools, but it's beautiful wood. All right, here's what we wanted to get into. I wanted to get into some of this really big cherry that I had and get some spindle turning blanks out of it. I made some silver maple turning blanks last week and they came out good, so now I want some cherry to go along with it. So basically what I'm doing is I'm just cutting off this outer edge of bark. Like I said, I'll chunk that down into firewood, or I'll just burn it in the burn pit because it smells good. Cherry's awesome firewood for the ambience and the effect. It just smells so good. But I want flat surfaces because I'm going to, if you don't know what spindle turning blanks are, they're basically squares that you put on your wood lathe, and you can make stuff like rolling pins, tool handles, mallets, little end vases and boxes, and all kinds of cool little crafty stuff, tops. So the way I go about making spindle blanks, I basically cut a couple of slabs out of these half logs, and then I'll knock the bark edges off of them, and then I'll cut them again lengthwise into squares. Okay, so here I go making the squares. I could probably save a lot of material if I took the time and measured them out and made sure everything was height and width equal, but it takes a lot of time to do that, and I'm just trying to knock this stuff out. I've got plenty of wood, so if there's a little bit of waste, I'm not going to lose any sleep over it. I just want to get this done and over with, get this stuff dried out, because with the spindle blanks, you kind of want to work with dry wood. Okay, this is also kind of where I laugh at a lot of guys in the Facebook forums and other groups that in the turning pages, not in the chainsaw pages, but in the turning pages, that suggest turners get electric chainsaws. Ain't no way you're going to do this type of work with an electric chainsaw. This is a 75cc chainsaw with a 32-inch bar. As you can see, it barely makes the clearance on these 20-inch logs. You know, you're not going to do this with a 50cc saw, or if you have a 50cc saw, it's going to bog down and you're going to spend half the time clearing, you know, all the noodles out of your clutch cover. You need the power to be able to push those noodles out of the clutch cover and just run efficiently. From this point on, I won't ever buy another saw that's under 60 cc's. It's just not worth it. They cut slow and they don't have the power to do what I want to do. I seriously think that a lot of these guys that recommend electric chainsaws are just, you know, got a political agenda and are a bunch of greenies and really don't have any idea what they're talking about. They're just trying to get their political view out there and sway everybody to think the way they think, because it's not technically or mechanically sound to do this type of work with an underpowered electrical saw. You know, to each their own, whatever floats your boat, but I ain't buying it. Same thing with these guys out there spouting about using vegetable oil for bar oil. Come on, man. You need the lubrication. You need the proper lubrication, especially when you're running hard and heavy and doing long, multiple cuts. It's not going to work. You need the tackiness, and you need the stuff that's designed to work for you, not against you. It might work with guys like that are doing chainsaw carving or something like that, where you're not in it full throttle and just bogging down and digging into the dogs and just working it hard, where you're just using the nose. It might work fine for that, but not for this. I've got my oiler on my big saws turned up fully, completely. I go about almost a 50-to-1 oil to gas. I can get 2 tanks of gas out of 1 tank of oil, but I always top my oil off every time I top my tank off. There's no point in being lazy and not doing it. Okay, so there's going to be a lot more footage like this, just breaking down this spindle work. But stick around, you know, it switches up. I'll finish up these cherry logs, turning spindle blanks, or making spindle blanks, and then you'll see me get into some more hickory and some maple, and I believe even a pine log that I'm kind of just cutting in half for future bowl blanks. So y'all, I wasn't lying. If any of you stuck around, here we got a nice cherry crotch that on these crotches, I'm leaving the outer edges on so I can do a natural edge. The bark on this is already dying, so I won't be able to get a live edge out of it. The difference between live edge and natural edge, live edge you're able to keep the bark natural, you lose the bark but you keep the contour of the outer form of the log. So here we got a nice size, decent, silver maple crotch. Silver maple is real common out here in Michigan. I swear there's one in everybody's yard. And the thing about silver maple is, well, out here at least, they hollow out. They rot from the inside out. And so they go down in the windstorms quite often. But the other thing that's nice about the silver maple that we get is there's usually a lot of figure towards the trunk, a lot of curly type looking maple, and a lot of ambrosia. Okay, so here we got another piece of hickory. And during this cut, as I'm cutting out the pith, I run out of fuel. This is actually where I should have stopped and resharpened my chain. At least give it 2 or 3 more swipes. This shag bark really wipes through it. And I think I had cut maybe half a tank's worth before I started filming the dig. I cut down some maple turning blanks earlier in the week with the saw. Well, I tell you what, man, I love this hickory. It's beautiful wood. I wish I could get more of it. It's just so cool looking. It's got almost a purple looking heartwood, and the sapwood's kind of a real creamy color, and it has the purple streaks throughout it. I've turned some really beautiful bowls out of hickory, some of my favorite. Okay, definitely after all this hickory that I've been cutting through, I need to go and probably put three to five more swipes on this chain. I can tell it's bogging down, it's not cutting as good, and yeah, man, it's hard to stop what you're doing and go and sharpen your chain, but you really should. It's bad for your saw to run a dull saw. And just for good measure, I went and grabbed a pine log. I've never turned pine. Everybody says it sucks. It's soft wood, dings up easy. I'm noticing now that it's got a huge gash in this, so I don't even know how well these blanks will turn out. But it's been down for maybe 5-6 months, and it's not too pitchy. I didn't get sticky hands or nothing on this stuff, so I want to try it. I need a couple of bowls out of it to see how it turns. Everybody, I don't know. I figured out turning pretty decently where, you know, with sharp tools and the right angle, you can deal with soft or punky woods with the tear out and get good clean surfaces. I've seen some people do some interesting bowls where they turn pine, but then they burn it afterwards. I can't remember the Japanese technique. And I've seen them burn it and then paint over it and make some really interesting looking bowls that way. I know this one's getting long in the tooth, so I'd just like to say thanks to anybody who stuck around and watched through this. And I'm trying to get better videos, better content. I'm not going to give up. I'm trying to strive to improve and get better content out there for y'all. Again, thanks for hanging around. why you get rid of the pith. Fragile, instability, where all your warping and cracking comes from. Just get rid of it. Okay, so here we go. Here's most of those cherry spindle blanks that I broke down, just so you can see what we got going on. You know, they're rough cut, they were eyeballed, I didn't measure anything. You know, I probably could have saved some wood, but I got tons of it, and this is just way faster. But to give you an idea of what we're working with, you know, that's 3 by 3 by almost 20, you know, and then we got a 5 by 4, so you know, there's an inch of waste, but you know, it's still 20 inches. You know, price that on Rockler, a 4x4, a 4x4 by 20 cherry hardwood. You know, it's not cheap. And there's another slab. Here's some of that hickory. Now here's a bunch of the other blanks I got going on that I still need to process down with the small saw, knock the corners off, and get going. Here's some of that hickory, man. That's some beautiful wood. That's that shagbark hickory. These are kind of just the quartersawn pith that I cut out of them. Cherry, see, if it's thin, it'll break right on the pith. This is just firewood. I don't even know why it's in this pile.